Lunatic lefties have left festival goers shocked after taking their confronting pro-Palestine protest antics to Glastonbury. And whilst we've all become very accustomed to Palestine flags popping up in every public event, the activists took it one step further this time, with the Glastonbury acts broadcasting their divisive message on stage. Musical act Bob Vylan put music aside for their set, instead choosing to focus on spreading their anti-Semitic political message by chanting death to the IDF and from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Alright, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF! 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 Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
And the artist didn't stop there. He followed up with a mocking song lyrics, "Heard you want your country back, shut the F up."
Heard you want your country back! Ha! Shut the f*** up! Heard you want your country back! You can't have that! Heard you want your country back! Ha! Shut the f*** up! Heard you want your country back! Shit, me too!
And the crowd wasn't much better, with thousands holding up Palestinian flags and chanting along to the dangerous lyrics.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Alright, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF! 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 Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
Online commentators were in disbelief with the scenes, particularly drawing comparisons between the horrific events of October 7th and the rhetoric at Glastonbury. This commentator said, "How does a society go from watching Jews being slaughtered at a music festival to chanting for Jews to be slaughtered at a music festival?" That's exactly what happened at Glastonbury. And artist Louise Dietrich agreed, saying, "I performed at Glastonbury twice back when it was a music festival, not a Nuremberg rally. The same pricks cheering Bob Vylan and kneecaps artistic freedom got me banned from festivals and wrote vicious hit pieces branding me a Nazi and transphobe to trash my career. The hypocrisy makes me want to puke." And commentator Drew Pavlu agreed, saying, "I can't take it. I am actually struggling. At my heart, I am a moderate, progressive social democrat, but the popularity of tanky, third worldist Maoism in leftist circles is so profoundly alienating and pushing me more conservative. Here we have the main act at Glastonbury, an incredibly prestigious position to occupy, chanting for race war, gloating about white people becoming minorities, celebrating decolonial massacres. The standard left-wing response line when challenged about all this is to deny that it's happening. They will laugh at you and pretend that it's just a few fringe extremists on social media being amplified by Fox News as right-wing propaganda. But it's clearly not. It's on the main stage at Glastonbury, being broadcast to millions of people. The BBC is also under fire today after they broadcasted the event, with Member of Parliament Rupert Lowe writing to the Director General of the BBC, Tim Davie, calling for future Glastonbury events not to be broadcast on the station. The BBC eventually did fold and remove the content from streaming services, but the Board of Deputies of British Jews have released a statement demanding answers as to how the hateful content was allowed to be aired. In an attempt to backtrack, the BBC released an article condemning the appalling chants, but British commentator Dan Wooten slammed the media outlet, saying, "Glastonbury and the BBC can absolutely F off with their pathetic attempts to crawl back from this. You created this hard-left anti-Semitic environment. You broadcast it. You support the jailing of Lucy Connolly and Tommy Robinson. Now the world sees what you're really about." And whilst the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer was appalled by the aggressive activism at Glastonbury, his Health Secretary Wes Streeting twisted the conversation to blame Israel once again.
The Israeli embassy says what happened at Glastonbury raises questions about the glorification of violence. Do you agree?
I think that is a challenge, and that's why I don't think anyone should be cheering it on. I'd also say to the Israeli embassy, get your own house in order. What happened in the West Bank this week by Israeli settler terrorists needs to not only be condemned, it needs to be acted upon. And Israel cannot continue to look the other way while its own people are carrying out unwanted acts of terrorism and violence. They wouldn't tolerate it rightly against their own citizens. Their citizens are doing it to Palestinians, and it's got to stop.